New moon in Pisces on February 27th. There's two ways to work through this new moon in Pisces. One is to go down the Pisces rabbit hole of never-ending confusion, chaos, not really sure if any of that actually served to think about, feel, go into. Or there's another way to do this Pisces new moon, and that's the way I really want to help us to lean into, and that's the way of, may this Pisces new moon open you up to big potentials. Pisces has this beautiful energy to open us up to something more, open us up to something more. And that's what I want to give us a lot of practices for. I want to give you some new moon rituals and some journal prompts on how to lean right into all that's on offer in this new moon. All right. I'm going to do that by kind of breaking things down theme by theme, like big bullet point by big bullet point for this new moon. All right. So before I get to the new moon, Mars just went direct. So this new moon is the 27th. Mars went direct on the 24th. This is a big deal, and it's going to flavor this area of time in this new moon. Something you could do during this new moon, because it's new chapter, new beginning, right? That's a new moon, is think about what's been challenging, clunky, hard to get over the line, frustrating for you over the last few months. Mars has been retrograde for a little while. This was a big retrograde for Mars, bigger than usual. He had a lot of aspects. There's a lot of different things going on in this retrograde. So think about what's been frustrating, what's been really challenging, what have you not been able to move forward? And then if it feels right for this new moon, new beginnings, right? New chapter, fresh start. Is there an intention, because new moons are really good for intention setting, is there an intention around that thing that's been frustrating? Is there some clarity that's coming? So that's one kind of ritual to feel into, or journal prompt to feel into, or intention to kind of set around this new moon is, okay, what was frustrating, what I haven't been able to move forward, it most likely had something to do with the Mars retrograde. Because Mars retrograde is action forward. It's making things happen. It's also a bit of like manifesting in the world. So really interesting, this forward motion, movement through things. And a lot of blocks have been going on. So that's just kind of the first sort of theme to feel into is, let me summarize that for us, is feeling what's been frustrating, what hasn't been working, or what's been really hard. And is there reframing of that to happen? Is there a new intention setting, something new chapter, new way of doing that, new way of looking at that? Is there new fresh energy around that for this new moon? And is there anything that you want to do around it? All right, so that's the Mars retrograde. That's a big one. That's a big one. A lot of us have been jammed up by that thing. So it's nice that he's going forward. All right. So that was on the 24th, he went direct. Now it's slow, of course, but he's going to build up momentum. So by the 27th, this new moon, he'll be moving a little more, will be a little less stuck. So perfect to do that practice. Now, let's talk about all this Pisces energy. Holy So when it's a new moon, it's the moon and sun are conjunct. That means both the sun and the moon are in Pisces. So if we were to look at those as just parts of self, it would be your conscious part of self is in the unseen. We could just say Pisces for this conversation in this moment, in this conversation is the unseen. It's the other side of the veil. So just feel into that for a minute. It's also spiritual openness. It's all is one. It's your spirit self. So your conscious self, the sun, is in the spirit realms. Your emotional, intuitive nature is in the spirit realms. Mercury is your mind. Your mind is in the spirit realms. Saturn is the manifester. He's that which brings things into reality. He's in the spirit realms. Neptune, the mystic in you, is in the spirit realms. Ceres, great mother, Demeter, is in the spirit realm. hold on, there's one more. Your north node, your future visions, where you're headed to, what, like the roadmap, the signpost of what it is that will unfold your highest purpose is in the spirit realms. This wild. This is the only new moon in Pisces this year. This is the only new moon in Pisces. I heard that and I thought that was crazy. Now, of course, the eclipses are on the Pisces Virgo axis. So that means the nodes of fate, that north node that I was just pointing to, that's going to stay in Pisces this whole year. But interestingly, new moon, so think new chapter, new beginning, fresh start, planting seeds. And you want to think in the spirit on the other side of the veil, in the unseen kind of a place. So I'm not like going outside, digging in my garden, it's not like a Taurus new moon where I'm like, yes, like get me in the earthy stuff. I'm actually going to like make this tangible, make this physical. I'm going to get my hands in the dirt. It's not that kind of seed planting for this new moon. It's seed planting. It's like your soul is going to plant some seeds. Your spirit is going to plant some seeds. Can you feel how ungrounded this might get? So this is the kind of red flag warning about Pisces season, about not just Pisces season, but this particular new moon. I mean, having 6 big astrological points in Pisces for this new moon, it's a big deal. That's a lot of Pisces energy. So let's talk about this a little bit more. What can Pisces bring about to sort of give us a flavor or feel for this? And what I'm going to encourage you to do is feel for what's the side of this that serves? What's the energy that serves you, right? So feel for that as I go through these different feels around Pisces, because it's so much Pisces energy. So Pisces is lack of boundaries, like no boundaries. There's no boundaries. Pisces has very watery boundaries. Like there is really, it's very hard to discern self from other. It's all, wow, is that mine? Is that yours? Is that your thought or my thought? Or is that feel your feel or my feel, or what I'm processing? Is that yours or is that mine? That's Pisces. That's an aspect of Pisces. And then you could deepen into that and feel into, how is this touching me in this moment? During this new moon, this moment in time, how does that touch me? And that's a journal prompt or something you could meditate on or have a good deep conversation with a soul friend, is boundaries. And I want to bring this up too around this Pisces new moon, is psychic hygiene, right? Like how much self-care do we give our psyche? Like, are we giving our psyche hygiene? Am I giving the mental thought forms around me? Am I cleaning those out? It's just a thought around Pisces, because this moment in time we could be really taking things in and end up, remember at the start, I said this Pisces rabbit hole. And we could end up in a place where we're identifying with something that really isn't necessarily serving. It's really not ours. We're identifying it as ours, but it was maybe a really strong projection that came at us. And we just became the thing that got projected on us. And we don't even recognize it to then be able to shake it and get out of it. So this is going to be hitting some of us really hard. So just being aware of it though, like now that you're aware of it, whoa, okay, super watery boundaries, lots of psychic stuff going around. It's a lot of interconnectedness, a lot of oneness. There's like all the boundaries get broken down during this new moon. It's really, really in the unseen realms. And so now and just feel into, okay, I'm going to do a little extra hygiene, psychic hygiene, if that makes sense for you. Or I'm going to do a little extra like aura cleansing, right? Or a little extra grounding because I'm so expanded. I'm so ungrounded. It can be a very ungrounding energy. But now feel into this. I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Being ungrounded, being in all is one, is sometimes the exact spiritual awakening that serves us in that moment. And so this new moon can be really powerful for moving us into a different state of consciousness, for spiritual up-leveling, spiritual initiations. Very powerful moment in time, very powerful. And so I'm not poo-pooing being ungrounded, and I'm not poo-pooing not having boundaries. I'm just giving us something to feel into, and for you to feel into uniquely, what is it that's popping for you? What is it that's singing for you around this new moon, and what really serves? So it's almost like this buffet of practices, buffet of journal prompts, buffet of things for you to feel into, to really support yourself. It'll be the days before this new moon and days after this new moon. So no, it's not just the new moon. It's also this new moon kicks off the whole moon cycle. So from new moon to new moon, this energy is here for basically a month. From new moon to new moon, this energy will be flavoring things. And so just know you can come back to this video, or it's not just like, oh my gosh, if on the new moon must do this. It really holds until the next new moon. And during this time between this new moon and the next new moon, we have some pretty intense stuff. Like Venus will go retrograde on March 1st. We have our first eclipse happening on March 14th. Then the next new moon is an eclipse. So we're moving into some intense territory. So this is something to just sort of foreshadow in your life, to really look forward to and to prep for, plan for, is that the next month we're going to have very watery psychic boundaries. We're going to be very spiritually blasted open, and we're about to go through a Venus retrograde, which means the heart, Venus, the heart, the feminine in us is about to take an underworld journey inward to revise, review, revisit love, relationships. Yeah, that's going to be interesting while we're spiritually blown open and have no boundaries. That's crazy. Also, that eclipse seasons are about what's getting eclipsed out of my life, what's getting eclipsed into my life. Big shifts in karma, dharma happen during eclipse season. Big changes happen during eclipse season. So that's going to all be happening in this energy of an enormous amount of Pisces, very psychically open, very spiritually open, very ungrounded, very unseen, very otherworldly. What are the practices you're putting in place, or how are you going to, I could say it like this, I don't like these words, but I don't have a better way of saying it, is how are you going to take advantage of this? Because it's also one of these spiritual moments in time where if we plan things, if we, do the retreat we've been wanting to do, take the shamanic journey we've been wanting to take, right? Like do the daily practice that we've been wanting to do. If we do that during this time, the seeds that we are planting, new moon in Pisces, the seeds that we are planting in the unseen, they will plant deeper, bigger, wider, further, wilder. We will do much more, and it will eventually ripple down into the physical. So this is a new moon. Let's go on a little further with this Pisces energy. This is a new moon where we are planting seeds in the spiritual realms. So doing spiritual work, doing soul work, doing soul calling, doing any kind of, I'm trying to feel into more words for us, but really it's planting seeds in the spiritual realms, planting seeds on the other side of the veil, in the unseen. It doesn't have to be spiritual. I keep leaning into spiritual. It could just be energetic realms. So you're working intensely in the energetic realms. In a new moon, it's planting new seeds. Now, planting new seeds in this energy, planting new seeds would be like, you can look also, here's a really good little tip for you, is you can look at where Pisces, this new moon is at 9 degrees of Pisces. Where is Pisces in your birth chart? What house does it fall in? The house that it falls in will be the energetic seeds you're planting in that area of your life. So let's say for me it falls in, I don't know what house it falls in, but I'll just make this up. Let's say it falls in the 7th house, right? 7th house is marriage, long-term commitment, So I would be, during this new moon, planting seeds in, because it's my 7th house, my house of relationship, long-term commitment, marriage. I'm planting energetic seeds, right? So I'm not like having the conversation necessarily with someone where I'm proposing to them. This isn't like a new moon to propose to someone, to like put a ring on it. That's too physical. That's far too physical. But I'm energetically planting those seeds. So what is it that I'm energetically called to do to plant those seeds for what it is that is? And I'm going to say this because the North Node is conjunct Neptune and is in the sign of Pisces, and we're about to hit an eclipse, which opens up the nodes of fate. So this is why I'm going to say this. It's because of the North Node. I'm planting seeds in that house because it's hitting that house in my own birth chart. And I'm planting seeds for my soul's desire in that. That's your North Node. Your soul's desire. This is not an ego desire. This is not a little self desire. This is a true north path. So it's planting seeds in the unseen, in the energetic realm, that are in accordance with my true north path, my soul self, right? And so you want to feel into soul self, like soul self, soul self, soul self, soul self, my soul self. What does it want to plant a seed for? What energetic seeds is it planting? And you can go with that mantra, like really like intensely. I feel like something that would be really good in this energy would be stomping, like stomping your feet, like a shamanic type of a dance, stomping your feet, because it helps with it helps to counterbalance the ungroundedness of Pisces, right? But also honoring the gift of the ungroundedness. Like, amen. We're not so rigid and for realists all the time, Amen for that. But it's like this stomping our feet, moving yourself into an altered state of consciousness that like moves you up to a higher place where it's like soul seeds I'm planting these seeds in the energetic realm for my true north, my soul path. My soul wants to experience this. My soul wants to create this before I die. What the heck is it? And maybe it's like having a child. Maybe it's growing a business. Maybe it's bringing a book through into the world. Maybe it's just experiencing the deepest amount of pleasure in the body while you're in this body as a soul. That's really powerful for this new moon. If there's one practice that I would say to do during this new moon, it's that one. Because that's going to set you up for the whole new moon cycle, which has that big eclipse in it. It's going to set you up for Neptune. Neptune's still conjunct the North Node. This is a big deal. The eclipses are about to happen. Those nodes of fate get really lit up. And we'll talk more about that in future episodes. I was about to go down a Pisces rabbit hole with this Pisces North Node eclipse season coming up, but I won't. I will reel it in. A tip that I'd love to share around this is, what are your anchor points? Who are your anchor points? Who helps to reflect back to you? Who or what? Maybe, I know some people it's not a who, it's more of a what. It's like journaling really helps to mirror back, reflect back. Someone who really holds you, or a practice that really holds your highest soul self. It's very hard because we as humans, we all have agendas, conscious or unconscious. We all have agendas, like your bestie doesn't want you to move away from her. You're living next door and she's like, oh no, I'm in your highest path. I see you living here forever. But she doesn't know that. So having this, I have a very dear friend of mine, and she just has this amazing gift to really be so unattached to someone's highest soul shining. It's literally she can see their soul in its highest expression. She sees that potential in someone and she stares at it and she points it out and she speaks to it, even if that means her best friend is moving away, even if that means it's going to hurt her little self, because she knows it's in this person's highest good. So you can kind of feel into that energy, and maybe you end up being that for somebody. Maybe the gift is being that for somebody. right? And maybe in the being that for somebody, you end up being able to be that for yourself, or it ends up opening that up for you. There's a lot of energy in Pisces that's very, it's very open giving. It's very open giving. Neptune is in Pisces. Neptune is conjunct the North Node. Neptune is higher heart, higher love. It's a higher octave of love. It's a higher octave of Venus, some people will say. It's a higher octave of love. It's like love without conditions. And you can feel into that as a gift of this Pisces new moon, this real love. It's not an if-then. If you do this, then I will love you, or I will love you only when you're being nice, or whatever it is. It's a love without conditions, higher level love. And that higher level love right now is really opening up the North Node, your soul's path forward, your true north path, your highest trajectory of what it is that your soul really wants to express, do, become in this lifetime. Isn't that beautiful? So this whole new moon phase, because we're headed into eclipse season, this whole new moon phase supports that North Node in a huge way, supports destiny in a huge way. And this new moon is kicking it off. This new moon kicks off eclipse season. It kicks off this destiny moment in time, this real support of you moving down the karma dharma line, karma south node, dharma north node, you moving toward true north, So this new moon is really about let's help you to start to move toward your true north, but let's really open you up psychically. Let's really open you up mentally, Mercury. Let's really open you up consciously, the sun. Let's really open you up emotionally, that's the moon. Let's really open you up from a rigid, structured standpoint, Saturn. Let's really open you up from a mothering standpoint, Ceres, Demeter. So 6 big aspects of self are really being opened up. Now, just being aware of that is going to help you to work with it. So no, you're blown open. No, you're on a spiritual retreat, even in your house while cooking dinner with your peeps, right? You're on a just feel like, whoa, I'm on a spiritual retreat for the next, really, it's going to be a month, it's going to be a month during eclipse season. It'll be a little longer, but we could just say during the new moon if you want to chunk it down a little bit, because, oh my God, a month spiritual retreat, opening up your North Node. That's a little much for the mind to take in sometimes. It's going to happen, whether we want to admit it or not. But, sometimes bite-sized chunks are good. So it's just okay, this week of this new moon in Pisces, okay, I got this, right? I'm good. I'm on a spiritual retreat. Something you could do in this energy is to really kind of switch on your shamanic eyes. What does that mean? This is a beautiful practice. Switch on your shamanic eyes. I like to do these shamanic vision quests where I just walk out my back door, right? And I just walk in nature. But I'm holding a specific kind of an energy of letting the world, I feel, the world is always talking to me. The world is in this interconnected, beautiful web, right? Beautiful interconnected web. And it's always talking. It's always talking. I'm just usually not listening. But during these shamanic walks, I'm listening. I have my shamanic eyes open. I have my shamanic ears open, and I'm listening. I'm looking, I'm watching. How is the weather talking to me? How are the trees talking to me? How is the land talking to me? What's talking to me? What's here for me to know? What's here for me to know? What is it that you want me to know? This is also a really good moment in time to work with your guides. So if you have shamanic guides, if you have a spirit animal, if you have a whole slew of guardian angels, whoever you work with, it's also a good moment in time, if you're not already working with guides, is to open up your psyche, because it's being opened for us. So it's very easy to tap into this stuff right now. Is okay, in my highest good, it's always a really good intention to hold. In my highest good, who's here? In my highest good, who's here? Who's got my back? Like, who's here? Who's been dancing around that I just haven't brought my consciousness to, that I maybe haven't been able to attune to? But during a Pisces new moon and all this Pisces energy in this next month, oh my goodness, you're going to be able to. It's conscious intention. So this is a really powerful tool during this new moon in Pisces. Always, it's a powerful tool, but especially now, conscious intention. What am I intentionally putting my consciousness on? Very, very powerful. And this is something that most people are lacking. Most people are lacking is the ability to direct your consciousness, the ability to stay focused on something. Social media is jazzing this up so badly, right? I love social media, right? Like, we are all over the place. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. I love it. I think it's amazing what we get to do. I think it's amazing how we all get to connect. I think it's just wild. But it's training our nervous system. It's training our nervous system to have very little capacity to attune our consciousness to something. And there's so much power in that. And so that's something to feel into for yourself during this Pisces new moon is, maybe it's something you're called to develop in yourself. Maybe not. That's fine too. But maybe you're called to develop, wow, I actually can't stay focused on anything. And if I can't bring my consciousness to something, I'm not really going to be able to bring a lot of juice to something because I can't direct it. So maybe you have a lot of Shakti or a lot of Kundalini awake in you, right? I know a lot of people hanging out rewilding. Y'all got a lot of Shakti, right? You got a lot of life force moving. You got a lot of spiritual awakening. You got a lot of juice, right? But are you able to direct it? Are you able to focus it? Are you able, right? Are you able to, and that's what the capacity to bring your awareness to something and keep it, to focus, to bring your attention to something. This is what a lot of people are lacking, is that masculine training, masculine spiritual training of directing your consciousness. How able are you to, because in a Pisces moment, this Pisces new moon, you could seriously do some amazing things with setting intentions. You could seriously do some amazing things in working in the energetic realms, but can you only hold a focus for a second or a fleeting second before you're like, zip, 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 squirrel, 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 what's over there, right? And then we just have like life force, and we just have like our juice just like spewing everywhere, it's just like leaking all over the place, and which is kind of nice. And some of us are called to live that way, where it's just like, I'm just like a sparky, just sparking everywhere. But for some of us, we're called to like really focus it. We're called to focus it in a way that brings it into reality. We're called to focus it in a way that moves mountains. And if I'm going to move a mountain with my Shakti, I've got to be able to stay with the mountain for long enough for my Shakti to move the mountain. Do you get it? Do you get it? That was a bit of a Pisces rabbit hole right there. Here's how I feel it will really serve during this new moon, though, is to keep us from getting too dispersed, right? Too in the unseen, too ungrounded, too all over the place, without, in a way that doesn't serve, right? In a way that doesn't serve. So here's a practice for this. I love this practice. Where does it most serve for my attention to go? Love that. That's how I start every one of my practices, every one of my own personal practices. Where does it serve? Where does it most 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 serve? And then I just listen. It's like that shamanic eyes, ears open. I like listen. I listen. I listen. I listen. I look. I watch. I see. I feel. Where does it most serve? So in this moment, if I were to do that, where does it most serve? Well, this is what happened. Where does it most serve for me to bring my consciousness to? And it was most serves for me to bring my consciousness through my heart, open my heart, and to be so with you. That was it. Where does it most serve for me to bring my attention? Which is, I bring my attention to you. I bring my attention to this conversation. And then all the floodgates are open. And the Shakti just pours through. The life force just pours through. But it's focused on this conversation on you, on being here in this new moon, giving you everything I can to support you through this new moon so that you can really stay on that side of this Pisces moon that serves, that supports. Overall, to me, this Pisces new moon, here it is, summed up, wrapped up, really nice and tight in a little bit of a beautiful gift with a bow on top. This is what this Pisces new moon is about. Planting seeds in the energetic realms to support your highest path forward, your true north, your north node destined path, your dharma, your highest expression of your soul in this life. And this is a new moon to be planting seeds in the energetic realms. Just that. It's that. That's all. All right, let me talk about a couple other aspects around this new moon. I feel like the biggest thing, there's so much Pisces energy. I mean, that is by far going to, it's so funny to say the word Trump, right? I can't even say that without like all kinds of thoughts coming in, but I was gonna say that's gonna trump everything else. Oh my gosh, there's so much in that. Isn't that funny? Wow, get out of that rabbit hole, Sabrina. That's gonna overrule. I can't stop thinking about the word Trump now. All right, anyways, it's the biggest thing. Pisces energy, all 6 of those aspects in Pisces. It is by far the greatest thing that's going on in this new moon. These other things I'm gonna mention, they're minor. This is minor, but there are other little shades of things that I feel we could talk about, because something might be popping with you. So one thing that's going on is, this is a really easy one to talk to, is that this new moon is square to Jupiter. That just adds expansion to it. It just adds more. It adds more. So being in a square to Jupiter, it's more, you know? Jupiter expands anything that you put Jupiter energy to. It's more Pisces energy, more new moon energy, bigger, wider, further. That's what Jupiter is kind of saying. That's interesting, right? The next thing to talk about is that Uranus is in a sextile to Mercury, the mind. So the mind is already in Pisces. We've talked about this, right? Mind is in the unseen. Mind is in this expanded state of consciousness. Mind is in Pisces energy, right? Mercury is the messenger of the gods. Mercury is the translator. He can speak any language. So he's speaking Piscean to us. So the mind is already flavored by Piscean energy. Now it's being flavored by Uranus energy. This is an interesting combination for the mind. So some things we could do around this, right, is there could be really beautiful flashes of intuitive insights coming from Uranus. Really beautiful flashes of insights, intuitive insights coming from Uranus, sparks, ideas. So when you're kind of doing that shamanic eyes open, shamanic ears open, stay tuned to the messenger of the gods, your mind, Mercury, being messenger of Uranus. Uranus is think outside the box. Uranus is push into the new. Uranus is revolutionary. Uranus, I just brought through Uranus as an archetypal activation. And what he brought through, this was so stunning and so beautiful, is that he brought through, here's the, I'm trying to think of the words. Here's ordinary state of consciousness. He likes to move us beyond the ordinary, into the extraordinary. That's Uranus. He moves us into the extraordinary. He opens this, in this case, it's Mercury. He opens the mind out into the extraordinary, into the territory of miraculous, what we would deem as non-ordinary. We would deem it as a miraculous thing happening. Now, this is something you could very easily and beautifully attune to. You could very easily and beautifully do a really powerful Uranus practice to help you plant seeds, right? Uranus practice, really go for it. This is all the sacred technology that's on offer during this new moon. This is sacred technology. It's beautiful. It's powerful. And you have it. You have access to this. This isn't just like special to some people. You have this, right? And this whole conversation, listen back to this again. Listen back to certain parts. If there were parts that like really sparked something, listen back, meditate during the conversation, because this isn't just words, right? Like we're activating Uranus. We're activating Mercury. Like, yeah, sure, they're little activations. It's not like a good proper hour-long activation like some are doing in the IX Mystery School, right? It's not like that, but the energetics are here, and you could deepen into this as a practice. Make this your own practice, right? So feel into this as something that might sing for you during this new moon, is really leaning into the extraordinary. And I'm holding my hands out here, like here's the ordinary thread, right? Here's the bandwidth of ordinary. This is just ordinary. This is like waking consciousness daily. This is like your thought patterns. This is where you kind of like live in the ordinary. And then outside beyond that is the miraculous. Outside beyond that is the extraordinary. That's where Uranus pushes us. Now Uranus in that sextile, that's a beautiful, grace-filled, ease-filled aspect in astrology. So it's pushing the mind. So you could lean into that, this beautiful, grace-filled aspect. Let my mind move into the extraordinary. Let my mind move into the miraculous territory. And then bring it a problem. For real. That's what this is about. This is embodied. This is embodied astrology. This is like, let's like where the rubber hits the road. Let's not just talk about what's going on in the skies. Like, let's actually work with it and bring it in. So now bring it a problem. Like, what is a problem that you're trying to figure out and you haven't found a solution for? Or what is a challenging thing? Or think about the Mars stuff that I mentioned at the very start of this conversation, where it was like, what's been challenging for you? Like, what's been frustrating? Make a whole list. Make a list of everything that's been frustrating. Everything that's been challenging, everything that hasn't been working. Now, lean into this Uranus, Mercury in a Pisces new moon, right? You want to talk about planting seeds in the new, planting seeds in the energetic spaces for your highest path forward. Bring it to Uranus, Mercury, right? Which will expand you out into the non-ordinary. Now, bring all your frustration, all your problems, and go, okay, what's the miraculous way of doing this? What's the extraordinary way of solving this problem? What's the extraordinary way of doing this? What is it? And be open, and then go for a walk or take a bath, or like, what do you do to get inspiration in spirit too, right? That's also Uranus in spirit too. You want to be a channel. What do you need to do to be a channel? This goes back to psychic hygiene, y'all. Goes right back to psychic hygiene, what we started with, right? What do you do for me to be a channel for just inspiration, so I can hear, so I can see? I have to get quiet. I have to get quiet. I go out in nature, right? I stop scrolling on social media. I stop chatting away the grace, right? That's what I do. But what do you do? What I do might be totally different to what you do. What do you do to become, to like clean off the antenna? We all have these beautiful antenna, right? And they're getting insights, and they're getting wisdoms, and they're getting miraculous. They're all capable of tuning into the extraordinary. This new moon is so easy to tune into these extraordinary spaces, the miraculous spaces. Take your frustrations there. Take your highest path forward there. Right? Take your true north. If you're like, I don't know, what is my true north? What is it? What is it that, remember that practice earlier? What is it that my soul really wants to do? My soul. What is it that my soul really wants to experience? My soul. Get wild about it. So that the monkey mind shuts off. So that the like voice of your mom stops coming in your head. So that what your partner wants you to do with your dang life gets out of your head, right? So just like buzz all them out, burn them all out, right? Because this has got to come from that deep, true soul place within. Soul. What does my soul want to experience? What does my soul want to experience? What does it want to do? 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 Let me think miraculous about it, right? Let me think in the extraordinary about it. Okay, great. How do I plant the seeds? How do I plant the seeds out there? How do I plant the seeds out there in the energetic spaces? Oh my gosh. Oh, this is one beautiful, powerful new moon. I'll maybe share a little bit about the feminine just before we kind of close things up here. There's this really beautiful dark goddess dance going on, and a little bit around Pluto, the dark masculine. I'll share that in a second. I've got three things actually, three ways that you can work a little bit deeper in this energy. The biggest way that you can work deeply in mysteries that rewilding holds, which is the mysteries of the feminine, the mysteries of the masculine, the mysteries of the sacred union between the two, and then the mysteries of creation energy. The deepest way to do that is we just opened a retreat in Australia, a 6-day all-inclusive retreat, which we never do, in the birthplace of rewilding. Rewilding was born in Australia 9 years ago. It's going to be 10 years before we go on to this retreat. So that's the biggest, wildest, deepest thing that you could do to be steeped in the mysteries that rewilding holds. That one. Next would be our weekend events. We have a weekend event happening in Sydney and a weekend event happening in London in 2025. After that, the next thing I have for you is totally brand new. I am in love with this, and it's totally free. That's maybe why I'm so in love with it, because we can give it to everybody. I love that. And it will very much support this moment in time and every single new moon, every single full moon. It will support the whole of 2025 for you. We put together a PDF guidebook. I think it's 15 pages of everything that's going on astrologically in 2025. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Downloadable PDF guidebook, month by month, what's going on. You can go and you can look ahead at March. Go look at February. Go look at March. Like, what is going on in this eclipse season? What am I planting seeds for at this new moon? It's going to help so super much. That's what I would do. Again, totally free. Download. You pop your email in. We send you an email. Download link. Boom, you got your 15-page PDF, print it out, write some notes down, scribble on the dang thing, whatever you want to do. Throw darts at the days that you don't think are going to be nice days. There's also the year of the serpent activation. So if you missed that, that was something we did when the year of the snake started. If you've missed that and you want to do it, or you just want to do it again because it was so juicy and there's so much feminine wisdom rising this year and so much intuition and a lot of strategy. So it also opens us up to being able to be very strategic around the energetics and these big, so for us right now, being very strategic about what it is that we're planting seeds for, being very strategic about things and very intuitive, like deep gnosis, deep intuition bubbling up. That activation's part of that. So you get the PDF guidebook and you get the activation. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm so crazy excited. Last tiny thing, this one's also free. This is also free. This is the how to find the house that this new moon is falling in. So if you haven't run your birth chart, I've also done a free masterclass on that. So free masterclass, how to run your birth chart. So you know exactly where you can look at your birth chart. You run it for free, right? You get the masterclass for free. You run your chart for free. And then you can look at where this is at 9 degrees. 9 degrees of Pisces, you look at what house that's in. Remember, I was giving you that example about, let's say it's in the 7th house for me and it's in relationships. So I'm going to want to plant seeds in the energetic realms in the area of my life that is relationships. Powerful to know that stuff. Really powerful to know. You can go literally watch that thing, print your chart out right now, and within like 10 minutes, you will know exactly which house this new moon is falling in, so you can figure out where to plant seeds in that area of your life. Really good signpost. All right, let me give you the goods on the dark goddesses. What are the dark ladies doing? So this one I like, it's interesting. Pluto, right? We all know Pluto just moved into Aquarius. Pluto is right now conjunct Lilith asteroid and Pallas Athena. Isn't that interesting? It's like Lilith, Lilith, wild woman, right? Seductress, wild woman. I want to use the word wild woman liberator. When you work with Lilith, that's part of what she does, is she just liberates the wild woman. Pluto also does that. Isn't that interesting? As a masculine archetype, he also liberates the wild woman. Now, Pallas Athena, she's a warrior. She's a strategic warrior. She's also there dancing with them. I find that to be a very interesting combination. That might spark something for you. That might awaken something for you. Don't know, but felt like I wanted to share that one. There's one other aspect that I wanted to share with you. I don't know why I'm going to share this one. I don't think it's super loud. Probably won't be super felt, but I'm going to share it anyways. Mary Magdalene is conjunct Uranus. So remember how I was talking about Uranus, lean into Uranus for moving into the extraordinary, into the extraordinary, moving beyond the ordinary, moving into the miraculous territory. He's conjunct Mary Magdalene. So that might flavor some of that miraculous territory, is the Mary Magdalene mysteries. If some of you worked in the Mary Magdalene mysteries, you'll know some of the mysteries that she holds. So maybe some of the Mary Magdalene mysteries, some of the Mary Magdalene traditions, it's actually like making me want to get really, really dizzy. I think this would be like, this to me is a marker for me, like, ooh, that's a place for me to meditate in. Like, wow. What is Uranus? Where is Uranus mixing? Because they're conjunct, right? Where is Uranus supporting Mary Magdalene to move the Mary Magdalene aspect of myself? This is how it feels, to move into the extraordinary territory. Okay. Uranus is also a Kundalini awakener. Awakener of the feminine. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, amazing. He's like the consciousness that comes down as a lightning bolt to wake up the Kundalini. He's almost like, I almost see him as like a snake charmer, you know? Like if Kundalini is like the serpent rising, right? Like Uranus is like the snake charmer that's like, yes. And interestingly enough, I won't go into this. This isn't our Uranus activation. So when we start to open up archetypal activations, you can dive into that with Uranus. It's really beautiful. His interweavings with Shakti, with Kundalini. It's very amazing how he comes into embodiment from formless to form through Kundalini. Wild, amazing mystery that he holds. But for this particular moment, you could actually meditate on that if that's something that sinks to you. But it's almost like him, you know, Mary Magdalene, the Mary Magdalene mysteries, and him as an awakener, him as the snake charmer, you know, he's like inviting more and more of those like beautiful, luscious Mary Magdalene wisdoms and Mary Magdalene Shakti to just wake up and roll through our bodies and gift our bodies and heal our bodies and open our hearts. And that's something that you could very much meditate on, should the Mary Magdalene mysteries be calling to you, or should even just feminine awakening be calling to you, or sensuality or pleasure practices, any of those sorts of. Mary Magdalene is a beautiful, amazing doorway into that territory. And with her being conjunct Uranus and them both being in that sextile to Mercury, the mind, he's the translator for it. He's the messenger of the gods, so can translate it. We can bring it into consciousness in an easier way, a bit more of a way. So my goodness, love that we get to end on such a juicy, yummy Mary Magdalene with the Kundalini Awakener Uranus kind of a practice. I just wish you such a beautiful new moon. I'd love to see you all in the comments. I'm always there the first couple of days. I'd love to see you in Australia. I'd love to see you on Creation Retreat, or in London for a weekend, or Sydney for a weekend, or I'd love to see you anywhere that you're kind of called to be. My goodness, thank you so much for being here, though. Y'all just like light me up, and you're the reason I do this. You know, it's our community. You're the reason I do this, and I am. This makes me want to cry. Pisces can also be very emotional. Right? A lot of water can be very, very emotional. Just from the deepest depths. So much gratitude. Thank you all. Y'all listen this in as much as I talk this in. And I'm very well aware that this is a co-creation, even if this might not feel like a co-creation for you, but it's this energetics of our community and you being here, even if this is your first time. You dipped a toe in. And so just thank you for that co-creation of this.